So it's gonna be a long video, but I figured it was time to share my testimony. Although I'm only 16 and it's still being written, I figured it was time because I can kind of feel it. Someone needs to hear my story, so start from the beginning. I was born with a clubbed foot, and I couldn't walk. My mother was terrified; she didn't know what to do. So I had surgery at about 4. That's when I started crawling. I kept having surgeries and putting casts on, and surgeries and putting casts on, but nothing worked until the last surgery. Then one doctor told me I was supposed to walk on it. One doctor said I wasn't. I walked on it, and then I permanently messed up my foot, permanently damaged it, which caused severe arthritis in my left leg. And that leg's shorter than the other one, which is why I kind of have a lean going on. And I was always an awkward child. Always. I didn't talk much unless I was really comfortable around the people. I was the one who was putting on concerts in the mulch and playing with earthworms and climbing trees and, the weird, little weird tomboy. I remember this one thing I used to do. I was really in touch with nature. I had a heart for everything. And I would bury earthworms and give them funerals. And I would give funerals to all the dead leaves in the fall, which was quite a job. For, like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. So I would do that because I felt like every living thing deserved to be celebrated because God made it. As a child, my faith was very, very strong. Very strong. I was kind of cocky, almost, because I was so confident. I wasn't cocky, but I was so confident that people thought I was cocky. My hair was down my back, I was a little skinny thing. I was in gymnastics, My mom was making crazy money. We were in a big house in Virginia Beach, and we were living it up, and I had everything I wanted, and, God was good. And I knew who I was. And then, me and my father, we had always been close. I was always a daddy's girl. And I know a lot of you that know me, y'all looking at me like, what? But yeah, I was always a daddy's girl. He always had my heart. It was always, my number one, God. And he was a writer and a singer like I am. And, so about 13, I found out that my father smoked. And he always yelled. He was always a yeller. He always was screaming, always fussing. But I didn't find out till 13 that he smoked. And by that age, I had lost that childlike sense of wonder. So everything became so real at once. And it's like it just hit me. And it knocked the wind out of me. Because it seemed like I had woke up one day and my father was gone. It's like I woke up and he was replaced by this monster. But it was the fact that I was only a child and I didn't know any better. I didn't, I was blinded by that childlike euphoria. So when I got older, it kind of just hit me out of nowhere. And I was like, what happened? I don't understand. So I started to hate him. Because it seemed like he was always on my back, always bothering me, always having something mean to say to me. Because around the same age, 13, I had started gaining weight. Before that, I had always been under 100 pounds. I was always really, really skinny, really bony. Like, people thought I was sick. So around that age, I had started gaining weight. But since I was young, like 4 and 5, I always wanted that love. Always was like, I would be in like 7th grade and I'd be like, I'm going to marry this guy. we're gonna have his kids and we're gonna get married. We're gonna have a honeymoon in Africa and ride in on an elephant. And I was always like that. Always believed in love. And my mom would be like, "You're not gonna find the person you're gonna be with for the rest of your life while you're still in diapers." I'm like, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Absolutely." I said it can happen. I said, "Look at Cinderella. They loved each other for a day and got married." So I was like, "It can absolutely happen." So as I got older, I continued to live with that same idea, which brought a lot of problems on me. When I was 13, the same time I started growing apart from my father, I met this guy. I'm not going to say any names, but I met him on Facebook. And I was innocent. I was still playing with baby dolls, Barbie dolls, all that stuff. And I met him, and we got together. He came over that day, and he kissed me. I'd never kissed anyone at 13, nothing, not a peck or anything. And he kissed me, and then it turned to a French kiss, and that blew my mind. I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." So I was instantly in love with him. You know, it was new. It was fresh. I never had nothing like that before. So, like I said, I was still playing with Barbies and stuff. So as time went on, he would start calling me his woman, and I would recognize it. I'd be like, "Okay." I was like, "Oh, he thinks I'm grown and stuff." You know, he was 16, going on 17. I was 13. You know, I just turned 13. So he would start calling me a woman. And when people asked who he was, I'd be like, "This is my boyfriend, my boyfriend." People are like, "No, I'm her man. You know, this is my woman. I'm her man," making the relationship seem more mature than it was. So, as time went on, you know, the kiss wasn't enough. You know, so I started doing what I saw girls do on TV. You know, so I didn't know what I was doing. You know, all I knew was that women have children. Simple. You know, and I knew the science behind it, but I didn't know the emotional attachment and sex and stuff. I didn't understand none of that. So I started doing what I saw on TV. You know, the girl kisses the boy and rubs on him and that stuff. And then time went on further, and that wasn't enough. So as time went on, it wasn't enough. I started looking at his inbox on Facebook and looking on his wall and stuff, and I would see that he's all on these girls' walls and liking all these girls' pictures and saying they sexy, sexy mom, cute, sexy. I would hit that, stuff like that, and I'm like, what? Okay, so I'm like, I'm about to lose this dude because I won't have sex. I was like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to keep my man. I never had this before. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So a Sunday in my church dress, my favorite church dress, I got on my hands and knees and I did what I did. And I don't remember if I said no, but I always felt like I did. But it's like when I go over in the time, it's like everything happened so fast, I never remember. But what I do know is that I was a baby. And he knew that I was a baby. And just for that simple fact, it was wrong on his part. But I forgave him a while ago. But it did affect me. So around that time, I had lost my best friend. Because he moved. And we were close, like super close. So he moved, and at that time, I just wanted to call him and be like, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm going through some stuff." But I couldn't. Because he didn't have a cell phone and stuff. So that night I took a push pin that you use to like hang up posters and stuff, and I carved his name into my arm, and just kind of something to hold on to, someone to hold on to, someone that I knew had my back, someone I knew loved me. That same night I broke up with him. And usually I tell the story different and say he broke up with me because I sound stupid. But I know I don't. I know I had good reasons. I knew what I did was wrong and I just couldn't believe it. I broke up with him that night. So as time went on, I started getting real messed up after that. I started dealing with depression and anxiety, low self-esteem. I gained a crazy amount of weight. I went from 120 to 210 in a year. And I don't know what happened. I started smoking, I started drinking, I started cutting every single day, like clockwork. I was selling weed and pills, my medication. It got real crazy. I started messing with all these boys, not having sex and stuff, but just dating a different boy every week, kissing on them, not knowing what these guys had or anything. On my 15th birthday, I was with this guy, and I wasn't with the guy. I was with someone, and then they hurt me. They crushed me. I don't remember who it was, but they crushed me. So I went back to my ex, and I was like, "Hey, can you come over? Let's hang out. Let's work on some music." And we were working on the music, and I was just kind of crushed. I had always loved this guy, so on the way home, I gave him a kiss goodbye, a simple peck, nothing crazy, not no tongue kiss or nothing. I gave him a peck. And it was a couple of days before my birthday. And he had been coughing and stuff. But I thought it was just a common cold, And girls never pay attention to that. I'm just, But that was just a common cold. So I gave him a peck before he left, like a goodnight kiss. A couple of days later, I woke up to find out that I had mono, which is the STD. I was like, and at that point, I was like, I didn't understand, because I had to spend my birthday in bed after just going through a heartbreak because I kissed a boy, a simple kiss, and I had to spend my birthday in bed, my 15th birthday. My mom was going to do it real big because I had been through so much that year, and everything was just so bad for me that year. I had been through a rough time. So she was going to do it big, and I was in bed drinking liquid Vicodin for a week, and, I never been big on medicine because medicine made my mother really sick. So I was never big on it, so that kind of stuff scares me. So I was in bed sick with mono, laying on the couch for a week after my birthday. I ended up getting $30 for that birthday. So, after that, I was really cutting. Around that time, I was on the school bus, and something had happened at school. They were bullying me or something. And I got on the bus, and I pulled out my razor blades, and I started just cutting away. I was bleeding, and then it was everywhere, and I couldn't stop it. I was trying to hurry up and clean it up before anyone came on the bus and saw it, but I couldn't. And I had a really childish bus driver. She was always in the kids' drama, and he said, she said stuff, and I really didn't like her. She came back there, and she was like, "Oh no, this B-word crazy." And she drove to my house, pulled up to my house, and was like, "Yo, you need to lock this girl up. She's crazy." And my mom had been threatening to put me in the insane asylum for a while because she had been threatening to put me